You ever find yourself stuck between a rock and a hard place? Doing what's practical versus doing what feels right? It's a conflict that pops up everywhere, at work, in our relationships, even with those huge life decisions. So let's just dive right into this timeless dilemma.
It really boils down to a fundamental choice we all have to make, right? Over and over again. Do we take the easy road, the one with the quick payoff? Or do we stick to our guns, hold on to a higher principle, even when we know it's going to be tougher?
So just think about it for a second. Honestly, when the pressure's really on, which way do you lean? It's a question that gets right to the heart of two totally different ways of seeing the world. Okay, so in one corner you got pragmatism. This is all about what works right here, right now for you. It's logical, it's focused on yourself. And then in the other corner, there's idealism. That's guided by a bigger idea, right? A belief in the greater good. Something we should all be working towards together.
Now, this isn't just some abstract, dusty old philosophical debate. Not at all. There's actually this brilliant model from game theory that just lays this exact conflict bare. It's called the prisoner's dilemma, and it is the perfect illustration of the tension between these two ways of thinking.
So the dilemma sets up this really fascinating situation. It asks, what happens when two people both make the most logical, self-serving choice they can? Well, the outcome for the group as a whole might not be what you expect. Let's take a look at how this plays out.
All right, let's break this down. Put yourself in the shoes of prisoner A. You and your partner, prisoner B, are in separate rooms. You can't talk to each other. Now, look at your choices. Let's say prisoner B keeps quiet. Your best move? Confess. You walk free. Now, what if prisoner B confesses? Well, your best move is still to confess, right? Because serving 5 years is way better than serving 10. So no matter what the other person does, the most logical, pragmatic, self-serving choice for you is to confess. But here's the catch, the paradox. Prisoner B is in the other room thinking the exact same thing. So when you both make that safest choice, you both confess, and you both get 5 years in prison, which is so much worse than the 1 year you each would have gotten if you just trusted each other and stayed silent.
And that's the paradox right there. That's the trap. When everyone acts purely out of their own self-interest, without any trust, the whole group ends up worse off. The path that looks safest for you as an individual actually leads to a worse outcome for everybody. So, the big question is, how do you break a cycle like that? Well, some philosophical traditions actually offer a totally different way of thinking about this. Let's explore one perspective, this one from Freemasonry, which tackles this impulse head-on, that urge to choose self-preservation over principle. And this is such a powerful idea. It's saying that within this community, the whole point is to consciously choose a different path, to actually resist that purely pragmatic urge we just saw in the prisoner's dilemma. It's like making a pact to say, nope, we're not playing the game that way.
And here's the playbook for how to do that. This is what that alternative actually looks like. It's a framework built on ideals that go directly against the logic of the dilemma. So, instead of being paralyzed by uncertainty, you actively commit to trust. Instead of pure self-interest, you prioritize things like fidelity and mutual support. The ultimate goal? To let the principle of brotherhood overcome the desire for personal advantage.
But listen, this isn't just some feel-good pie-in-the-sky idea. There's a really clear, almost practical logic to why this idealist path can actually create a better, more stable outcome for everyone. Let's look at how that structure gets built, step by step.
Okay, and this right here, this is the bedrock. It's the foundation for the whole thing. Everything, and I mean everything, starts with justice. Think about it. If the system is fair, if people's actions are just, that creates the space for trust to even exist. Without that foundation of justice, trust just can't grow. It's impossible.
And from that foundation, you get this beautiful chain reaction. A real commitment to justice builds an environment of trust. And that trust, that's what allows real unity and peace to flourish. It's a literal step-by-step process for building a community that can beat the prisoner's dilemma. It creates a world where cooperating isn't just the nice thing to do, it's actually the most rational choice.
So that brings us right back to where we started, to that core conflict. But now, hopefully, we have a much clearer picture of these two worldviews and what they each lead to. Let's put them side by side one final time. So on one hand, you've got the pragmatic world. It's the world of the prisoner's dilemma, where everyone is just trying to protect themselves. And the great irony is that it often ends with everyone getting hurt. But the idealist path, it makes a completely different bet. It's betting that if we prioritize principles, things like justice and trust, we can build a world of collaboration and integrity. A world where, in the end, everybody wins.
Look, this is not always an easy choice. The stakes can be incredibly high, but understanding the logic behind both of these paths, that gives us the power to choose with our eyes open. So the question really comes back to each of us. In our own lives, in a world full of these dilemmas, which path do you choose?